let's talk about how the multiverse works in the Marvel universe, because clearly the people over at I don't know, making the movies, they clearly don't. The people in power don't know how it works, because they are constantly claiming in the movies and the creators of them that it is in the MCU that it is 616. That's not how it works. Alright, I hate to explain it. No, I don't. I love to. But when you make a movie, so when you make something, actually, I should explain it later. First, I should get out why I'm explaining it. So, in the movies, in the MCU movies, they constantly characters will remark that it is Earth 616. And the creators of the movies also remark that it's Earth 616. That is because they want to feel like their universe is important. They want to, I'm talking about the people making the movies, they want to feel like their stuff is the main stuff. But it ain't. That's not how it works. So let me break down how the Marvel Universe multiverse works for you, or how I interpret it, which I could be entirely wrong, but I don't think I am. So I already have stuff doodled on the board, but we have the MCU. So if you make a movie, let's say take the MCU universe for instance. You make movies in this one universe, that's its own universe. You make a different movie in a different universe, that's its own universe. You make movies in their own universe, different movies that don't take place in other universes, they become their own universe. Like the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies, the Tobey movies, the Fox movies, and the MCU. So they all become their own universe. Like, for instance, the MCU is not 616. They are Earth 1,999,99, as stated in Spider-Verse, which should get the multiverse right, I think. So, let's say the Lego games, the Lego Marvel video games, that's its own thing, because games count too. That becomes its own universe. The Lego universe. Yeah. So every Lego Marvel game, it's its own universe. Unless if it takes place in another Lego Marvel game universe, then, what I'm getting at is the Lego universe, its own universe. Once you make something, if you make a new Marvel thing, it takes place in its own universe, whether it shares a universe with many other things like the MCU. All those movies takes place in the same universe, but you make those movies, they take place in a separate universe from the 616 comics. You can't make a 616 comic movie, because then it would just be a parallel universe with a different universe number. It would have to be like 1,000, it would have to be 1,000%, that's not a percent word, but it'd have to be 100% accurate to the 616 comics, and it still wouldn't even work, because it would be a different visual interpretation. Maybe, I don't know how, maybe it would work, but you'd have to be 100% accurate to the 616 comics to even try to claim that you are the 616. And you would have to make up some excuse why it looks different, because stylization in universe is a thing. So if the 616 universe, if they jumped into a Lego universe, they would noticeably see the difference in visualization. Take Spider-Verse, for instance, with Gwen's is watercolored, and if she hops in a different universe, it looks different. She would probably notice that. Who cares? It's not just like a invisible filter to them. So, what's another one? Edge of Time. Spider-Man Edge of Time. I'm not going to write it all out, but Spider-Man Edge of Time is its own universe. You can't see it, but it's there. It's its own universe because it was made. You make a game if you make, for instance, a game in the Marvel Universe, it becomes its own universe that A, could be shared with other games, or B, it is a standalone thing. Same thing with movies. You make a movie that is Marvel, it becomes its own universe. You just created its own universe, unless if it takes place in another movie universe. With comics, you have like the Ultimate Comics, that's its own universe. You have the 616 Comics, that's its own universe. So, if you make a movie, you just created that movie universe. If you make a game, that you just created a whole new universe. Hypothetically, since there's like an infinite number of universes in Marvel, you could make a fan fiction of your own interpretation of the character with a number that has not been used before. And then, if Marvel loved you enough to say, hey, that fan fiction is canonically that universe, then you would just have created a new universe in Marvel. So, I'm ranting a lot, and maybe none of this makes sense, because I have been all over the place, and I don't know how to actually word my point properly. But you can't make a movie of 616 in the 616 universe, because you'd be making a new universe. Even if it's almost exactly, it'd be like a parallel universe. And the MCU is clearly not 616. It's its own thing. That's not how the multiverse works. You make a movie, you make a new interpretation of the 616. You're not making the 616, you're making a new interpretation, and that interpretation becomes its own universe. You do that with any movie. So any new movie, any new game, any new show takes place in its own universe, whether it shares a universe with another game, another show, another whatever, doesn't matter. But you can never make an adaptation of 616 and claim it to be 616. I know I've been all over the place, but hopefully I have made some sort of sense and someone understood it. And if you do understand and I wasn't very clear, but you still somehow understand, please feel free to try to explain it better in the comments, because I don't think I've done a very fair job of making my point, but that's how I am. So, peace.